Hey everybody, what's up? Well, this request is going to be for Sheen City, who wanted me to film all of the pokies. And I do happen to own all of the ones that are available in the hobby, so including the rare P smithi and the ultra elusive Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica, which is the Rameshwaram Ornamental. Okay, but before I begin, a lot of requests for people asking me what type of Pokie should you be starting out with, and it's really up to you. With experience of owning all these Pokies, they generally can be kept very similarly. They do have the same potent venom strength, but temperaments, as you all know from my videos, they vary. Some can be really docile, some can be very ultra defensive. In my experience, the ornata and the fasciata seem to be the most defensive ones that I've worked with, and the most docile ones I've worked with is Poecilotheria subfusca Highland and the bara. But as I said, individuals vary. Some of them can be well behaved, some of them can be totally aggressive or defensive. Defensive, I should say. They're not terribly aggressive species, but I guess we'll start in alphabetical order and I'll show you exactly what they look like, and yeah, why not? Alright, the first Pokie I'm going to be showing you in alphabetical order is the Poecilotheria bara, or as it used to be called, the Poecilotheria subfusca lowland form. This is commonly called the Ivory lowland ornamental. Yeah, it's Ivory lowland, yeah, that's it. And that's what it looks like. A lot of people have asked me which is my favorite tarantula out of my collection, and probably many of you already know it's definitely this one. Just because it's one of the most beautiful pokies that I ever come across to, and I think I'm going to get flamed for this, but I think that it might be actually better looking than your P metallica. So, why I like this Pokie? Because of its nice colors that you've never seen in a Pokie. It's one of the distinct Pokies that has a blackish brown color to them with gold highlights on the legs, and that's why they call it the Ivory. Very beautiful. I remember getting her as a half-an-inch spiraling at Tarantula Canada. I paid a little over $150 for her back 4 years ago as a half-an-inch, and now today she's around 6.5 inches. She's definitely very sweet-tempered and docile. Has never gave me any threat postures, but I don't want to attempt to handle her because she's still pretty venomous, and I don't want to get bitten by one like this. You can see definitely a very beautiful Pokie. Now this is the second Pokies that I have. These are Poecilotheria fasciata, commonly called the Sri-Lankan Ornamental. So I have here a 1.5-inch juvenile and a 4-inch male. So this is just a ordinary 32-ounce deli container with some substrate, potting soil, some sphagnum moss, and a little plastic so it can climb on. So pretty much Poecilotheria fasciatas are pretty cool and pretty common. They look like regalis, except the only thing that they have differently from it is, you know, they have different patterns on the carapace and the abdomen, as well as they don't have the clear band. So in my experience, I'm having the worst luck with these species because every time I ever get fasciatas, they always end up being males. So I'm hoping this one that I got from the expo is a female. Now this one here is a male. To Prometheus, who PM'd me about my fasciata because he's looking for a mature male, but this one here is a penultimate male. You can really see why it's starting to look like a male because of its drabby colors. If it was a female, you would probably see a lot more vibrantly colored. You'll see more grayish into them, but he's definitely going to molt very soon. He's refusing food. At least you think he is. And yeah. Yeah, male. Alright, so that covers all the fasciatas. Now this one here is a Poecilotheria formosa, commonly called the Salem Ornamental. Oops, wrong T. I kind of fooled you there. Yeah, this is definitely the P formosa, the Salem Ornamental. This is another beautiful Pokie that's not always commonly available. This one grows around 6 to 8 inches. This one is around, I would say, a good 7 inches, almost fully grown and fully mature. Formosa seem to be on the skittish side. As I owned this female for around 2 years, didn't really see much threat postures from her. Maybe once or twice. But she's still pretty skittish when she can be. But I called this one the purple Pokie because there's all purple highlights around her body. Yeah, she can be fast. This is the next Pokie. This is known as the Rameshwaram Ornamental, Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica. This one happens to be the most expensive sling that I ever bought from Tarantula Canada. I remember getting her, it was this year, I remember. I paid around $215 for this species, and it doesn't really help because I have suspicion that this might be a male. So this is Athena. She is around a good inch to an inch and a half. They'll pretty much grow like your P regalis size, 6 to 8 inches, and they're pretty similar looking to a P fasciata. The only difference between a fasciata and a hanumavilasumica is that they have slightly different patterns on leg number 4. I don't get it why it's so priced that way compared to like your fasciatas. They're very expensive, and I guess they're cool to own. I think Paul Becker has some of these going for $199. But it's a pretty cool looking Pokie. Alright, next. A very, very skittish P metallica Gooty Sapphire Ornamental. So this is the second one that I ever bought from Tarantula Canada. Paid around $200 for this. As you can see, these Pokies are very light sensitive and they really hate the light. Didn't want to scare her too much, but this one might potentially look like a female. Got her as a half an inch for around $200. They're still priced around the same, considering back in 2003 when they were first introduced in the hobby, they were around $1,000. So this is Mia. She is a female. The first one being my mature male. I call him Sonic. Of course, because I liked Sonic the Hedgehog, and he was blue at the time, so what a perfect way, and he was speedy just like my female. So Mia is in a Exoterra Nano, which are one of the best tanks for your arboreal species. The dimensions happen to be 20 by 20 by 30, length, width, and height. Pretty much I've seen a lot of threat postures from my girl, making her one of my most defensive ones. A lot of people argue that metallicas can be very docile, but like I said, individuals do vary. But this is what I had to work with my female. Very cool looking. She is in heavy pre-molt. That's why I've noticed her cage having a lot of webs, and hopefully that will be good. because at least she's due for one. Alright, next Pokie I have here is a Poecilotheria miranda. This is commonly called the Bengal spotted ornamental. As you can see, this is another skittish Pokie. It has some amazing colors, especially once you see them freshly molted. She last molted since I recorded tarantula feeding video 72. I think she's pretty much due for one anytime soon. This Pokie has a lot of white and beige going on, although you really can't see it on my specimen. So she was around $100 as an 1.5 inch. Bought her in 2009, and that's pretty much what she grew into. She's approximately around 5.5 inches, almost full grown. And I would say she's mature as well. Now this cage right here is a Zoomed enclosure, which happens to be the largest arboreal cage that I have, as seen on YouTube. And where is my ornata? Because that's where we're going to see. This is called the Fringed Ornamental, or as people call it in the UK, the Ornate Ornamental. I'm not going to show her too much because she's very, very skittish. Let's get her out. Alright, here we go. I'm not sure if you can see her well, but this is my ornata. She is approximately around 8 inches. One of the largest Pokies that can attain at least a 9 to 10 inch leg span, just like Robsey's Clover. She's definitely my most defensive and definitely my most skittish one that I have. Every time I open up the cage, she comes a-running. Especially, it's very hard to do when you're doing tank maintenance. Just like that. Hang on. And that's a perfect example why an ornata is probably not the best Pokie to start off with. And what I'm going to do is I just caught her. She went all around my bed. I had to get her. As you saw, she just escaped on me. And basically, I'm just going to close it and let her crawl out. Alright, after that fiasco, here's another Pokie I'll introduce you. This one we're probably not going to see very much. This is my Poecilotheria pederseni, which is a ghost ornamental. This is Amy. This is probably the 4th P. pederseni that I own. 3 of them ended up being male. So again, this is another species that I have very difficult times in getting a female. But I'm hoping this one here is a female. They pretty much look like regalis. Pretty much exactly like regalis. Except there's no yellow warning legs. And they're just going to be all white and black. And gray. Cool. Now, next one up is your P. regalis, the Indian Ornamental. So I do have 2 females of my own, as well as a mature male that belongs to Code Dark 2. Link, which is a happy father. And you notice that these Pokies are actually sexually dimorphic, meaning that the males and the females are very different. So this is Cody's mature male regalis. It's very hard to see in the camera, but if you note his colors, it's all brown and drabby looking compared to the female. See, the folio stripe is not very present versus the females. So I have Zelda and Pandora. Zelda, of course, is the mother of the babies that I showed you in the last video. So this is Mama Zelda. I'm exceptionally proud of her. She's over here. She's a full 8 inches. One of the most common tarantulas, at least in the pokies. Slings can go for like $25. I think that's what I'll be pricing my spiderlings when they grow up. As well as to adult females, they're probably around $150. Just like your pederseni. Alright, that's Zelda, and I'll show you Pandora. Pandora might be hiding, but we're going to see if she's out. She's actually might be pregnant. Try to zoom in if I can see her. Yeah, she's way down below. She's fat. So it's a good sign that I got her pregnant. I mated her once with his male, but outlook could be very promising. Now, the next one are Poecilotheria rufilata, the Redslate Ornamental, and I do have 2 of them. One is I got from Mac and Cass. This was a freebie when I bought a Tapnikini Santi Vincenti and a T. Eleni. As you can see, this one here is actually a sexed male, at least from the ventral shot. Molted quite recently. Again, a very beautiful Pokie, like the ornata. They can attain to 9 to 10 inches. It has a mixture of green, red, orange, pink hairs with yellow highlights. Now I'll show you my adult female. Alright, let's see where Caitlin is. Caitlin was a $55 spider that I got from Translate Canada around 3 years ago. No, 4 years ago actually. Half an inch spiderling, and where is she? Ah, there she is. You can see her well. Whoop! Another close call. Let's track her out to see what she looks like. I'm probably going to spell disaster here. There we go. I'm not going to touch her anymore. She's around 7-inch confirmed female. Fully mature. Very, very colorful Pokie. And definitely one to get if you're starting a Pokie collection. A must-have. You can really see the reddish hairs around the legs, and that's why they call it the Redslate Ornamental. It has like a black mask around the eyes, giving it an aggressive appearance. Wonderfully striped abdomen. And overall, a simple beauty. Next. Alright, here's Allison. She is a female smithi, which is the yellow-backed ornamental. They pretty much look like a P. regalis, except they don't have the clear abdominal band, as you see in a regalis, and they don't have any yellow warning legs, as you see in the specimen right over here. They pretty much, on the dorsal, look like regalis. The only difference is that you'll probably see like some sort of yellow beige tinge to them, and that's probably why it's called the yellow-backed. This specimen was actually not too badly priced for a rare species like this. This one was a unsexed 3/4 inch for around 170, and I got this one in March of 2010, and right now it's around 2.5 inches. And that's what she looks like. For those of you who are interested. For a pair of Poecilotheria striata, which is the Mysore Ornamental. Now this one might be hard to see. This is Sora, who is a possible female. And I have Dawn, who's a possible male. This is generally what striata look like. They are basically identical to the pure regalis, except for the fact that it has a much more blacker tinge around the carapace than the regalis. We call them the dirty ones, because the carapace is much more blacker than your actual regalis. Yeah. Pretty much we call them the Mysore Ornamental. It has lovely orange highlights near the warning legs. I have seen a couple of threat postures from this one. Overall, not too bad. Smithi, I just see a lot of skittishness. And this is the possible male. Might actually be due for a transfer very soon. And you can see it's much more darker colored. Camera's not picking up well, then you see the specimen. You can see how vibrant this one is, and you can see how dark this one is. So definitely a sign that this actually might be a male, and this might be a female. Although he's probably going to mature faster than what she's going to be. So that's going to suck. But not too bad. Now the next Pokie is the second favorite of my collection. This is a Poecilotheria subfusca Highland, or the Kandy Highland Ornamental. I'm just going to move her up a little bit so you can actually see her. She's actually really calm, like my bara. So just want to show you what she actually looks like. Another definitely recommended Pokie to get. So you can now look at the folio stripe, which is on the abdomen. You can see the yellow outlining versus the black one. If you see a female, you'll notice that the yellow outlining is going to be much more pronounced. And if it was a male, you would see the black one pronounced. Again, this is a very beautiful specimen named Kandy with a K. This is another recommended Pokie, and that's now has gone pretty cheap over the years because a lot of people are breeding them now. Now in Canada, you could probably get a decent size inch spiderling for around $100 to $120. Definitely worth it because it's very nice to look at. And now I just have one more. And this is the last Pokie I own. A Poecilotheria tigrinawesseli, the Wessel Tiger Ornamental. A very unique looking Pokie that kind of looks like a Miranda and a Formosa mixed together. And this is Tina. She is a 4.5 inch confirmed female. As you saw, she had recently molted. I have to remove that molt out of there. And yeah, she's absolutely beautiful. Only seen her do one threat posture, and that was because she was in pre-molt, and I was offering a cricket and she wasn't interested. Again, this is a very nice Pokie to consider getting in your collection. As you can see, there's no warning legs, and there's no clear abdominal band. Wow, we can actually see how iridescent the padding are on the feet. Simply a beautiful specimen. And she's definitely going to be fed in tomorrow's feeding video if she decides to eat. And you see, like I showed you in the subfusca part, the folio stripe is very pronounced, so this is a definitely female. So I do hope you enjoyed this tour video of all the Pokies I own. I'm definitely going to be making a tour video in the near future, showing all of the 125 keys that I own. So that's all the Pokies. Hope you enjoyed it, everyone. And thanks for watching.